little pauses to me, man, that shit sounds so incredible to me. I want to get back to the song. This shit is nasty.
I'm gonna start this back from
Nasty.
the beginning. Charismatic frontman can do a lot.
Yeah, boy.
Can do a lot for a band. They can make a band and kill a band.
Nasty though.
That
is
no
nasty.
wrong to me.
That is nasty.
The riffs and my man Peter Steele's voice.
Really, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me, guys. So, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. And it's never mind. Keep it going, George. just keep it going. Check us out on Patreon, guys, where we give you our exclusive access to all of our videos, 186 videos and counting.
Bangers too, though. Bangers. You know, nothing too shabby. I mean, I don't know, like a Led Zeppelin marathon. We got Metallica on there, some Megadeth stuff. You know, I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there, man.
What's up, guys? Your boys are back. I'm Ryan, my man George.
What's happening, guys? How you living out there? Shout out to the free thinkers, of course, and everyone that's been following us on Instagram. DEAF2 radio is our Instagram. And also make sure you guys follow us on deftoradio.com, which is our website. It's a membership site, free for everyone. Get engaged. It's a great way to get on our radar in terms of requests. Join the groups. The information for that will be in the description below.
And as always, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure it's set to all so you get all our videos as they drop. Up-and-coming artists, take a look at the link in the description. We'll do about 60 seconds of your song in the front of one of our up-and-coming videos to get you some exposure. If that's something that interests you, make sure you check that out. And also, guys, if you're looking to get your own website going, check out our link for Pressable, man. You'll get 50% off the purchase, the entire purchase. If you're interested, make sure you check that out.
The Offspring, man, is what we're doing today, man. This is a pretty big band that we haven't had a chance to get to, so we want to acknowledge that. I remember this band being a pretty big deal in like the 90s. It looks like they formed in 84, so I don't know if they have any 80s work, but I just remember this band being all over the place in the 90s. And the one song that I believe I've heard is Pretty Fly for a White Guy from this band. Pretty Fly for a White Guy. That's the only song that I know for sure that I've heard. I may have heard others, but that I know for sure that I've heard. They do punk rock, skate punk, pop punk, melodic hardcore, hardcore punk, alternative rock are all of the genres that they're saying they do. And then the Offspring is also credited alongside fellow California punk bands Green Day, NOFX, Bad Religion, and Rancid for reviving mainstream interest in punk rock in the 90s. They have sold over 40 million records worldwide, making them one of the best-selling punk rock bands in history. So we're expecting sort of a punk rock song, 90s style punk rock, and with big band we haven't done. So let's get to it.
You know, I like the musicianship and I like what they're saying. That's what George was saying under the music. I don't know if you could hear him. So the lyricism is good, but I just do not like his voice, the way he's singing. Wow. It almost sounds like it is, it's got pop elements, obviously, but it almost sounds like it's a joke to me. But they're speaking some real shit when you talk about the lyricism. The name of the song is The Kids Aren't All Right. And he's almost kind of reminiscent of when we were young, the future was so bright. Because when you're young, man, everyone has these big aspirations and what you want to do. And it almost seems like as you get older and life kicks you in the ass, those aspirations get smaller and smaller. Like when you're small, you know, when you're a kid, you know, you're like, man, I'm about to have a big house on the hill and I'm going to have I don't know, a fucking Lamborghini, and I'm gonna do that. That's my
wanna
car.
be a
I don't know if y'all did
scientist.
that. I know George did that. That's my car. That's my car.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice cars that drove down the street. That's what we used to sit on the porch and shit. And be like, that's my car. That's my car.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you get older, you know what I mean? That mansion turns into, well, hopefully I can get a house one day, and then it goes from hopefully getting a house one day, hopefully I get in a fucking apartment, first of all, you know what I'm saying? And correlating it back to the song, you know, you're saying that the old neighborhood was so alive, every kid wanted the whole damn street, you know, kind of going back to what we were saying. We want these big aspirations, and now neighborhood is cracked and torn, you know, and what did they say at the end? They said, how can one little street swallow so many lives? That's a crazy statement right there, you know, you could look at that a bunch of different ways, from drugs to crime. So that was very shocking to me that the lyricism would be this deep, and the way he's singing it, or, you know, the way he's singing it, it sounds very upbeat. Like he's saying something that's very positive, you know, and maybe that's going to correlate that back later to something positive, kind of bringing it back home. Like, the kids aren't all right. We got to do more to make sure that their future is secure. So I don't know. It's I love what's being said, but the way he's singing it, though, I'm not a big fan of. No, I'm not a fan of that cadence and the way that's being sung.
His tone as well is just it's the typical pop, or pop. Punk rock tone that we heard a billion times in the 90s, and I never liked it from anyone. You would throw Blink 182, I don't know if that's pop punk, or Sum 41, I think that they're punk. None of that. I didn't like any of that. Getting to the lyrics, man, it just to me seems like he's speaking on the loss of innocence as well. I just think when you're young, you know, your life's ahead of you. Like, the realities of life haven't hit you yet. You got to go get a job. You got to grow up, and then things get difficult. And then because things get difficult, you look to medicate yourself, maybe with drugs. And then, you know, your neighborhood is just completely not what it used to be, and yada, yada, yada. So I think it's kind of a loss of innocence. You know, reality hits and things just aren't the same anymore. And it's coming to terms with that is what I feel like this song is touching on. Right here, chances thrown away chances is how I'm taking that. You had chances and you didn't take advantage of opportunities that came your way. Nothing's free. You realize nothing's free. You got to work for everything. Yep. You know, like when you were a kid, everything was given to you. You were taken care of by your parents, right? And it's a sobering reality for a lot of people when you got to go out there and get it yourself. Longing for what used to be, still it's hard to see. Fragile lives, shattered dreams. Yep. Dealing with the fact that you aren't who you thought you were going to be. The feeling of, again, that sobering reality to that can drive people into depression and all these things. So you just wish, you reflect on being a kid, and damn, man, I just wish I could be a kid again, man.
Yep. So. And I really enjoyed the way you said the chorus, man. A lot better than the way he sang it. If he said it just like that, I'd be like, wow, that's
didn't sing it at all.
Yeah.
But when I see 240, because the video for this song, I think, has got like 242 million views on it, and I believe the lyricism is a big part of that. Like, it is a very catchy ass. The music in this is very, very catchy and upbeat, and I know that they're probably when it's punk, it's not always about sounding the best from a vocal standpoint. So I know that the melody and what he's saying, I think is going to be catchy to people. But I believe the lyricism, I think at that time especially, even now, you see how things change. You always long for what used to be. When I think of how life is now, I long for like what life was in the 90s as well. So I can relate to that to it on that. So yeah, man, shout out to them on the lyricism. Shout out to the musicianship as well. I agree with Ryan though. I don't like the vocals. Longing for used to be, still it's hard to see. Fragile lives, shattered dreams.
Always I like it.
Yeah, this was, you know what, man? This is one of those songs that I can tell why it worked. I mean, the musicianship is very, very, very catchy. Even the chorus, even though I don't like the way his voice sounds, I don't like his tone and the approach. The chorus is catchy. Chances thrown, you to be. I can see people singing that and screaming that and jumping up and down, and it being sort of cathartic for kids. So I understand all of that. And I think the musicianship, I know it is very probably generic. I don't know how generic it was at the time. Right now, it sounds like I've heard this kind of style 1,000 times, but I don't know if the Offspring was. It did say it actually did credit Offspring and Green Day, and NoFX and Bad Religion, all these bands with reviving punk. So I'm gonna give them credit for being maybe the first to have this style because it said it in the wiki. I don't know if the wiki's right, but it gave them credit for being sort of the pioneers of this sound. So I'm gonna give them credit for the freshness of it. So if they are the ones that kind of started this, and 1,000 other bands copied this sort of fast, upbeat punk pace, 90s style upbeat pace. Salute to them, because that shit ended up being extremely successful for many, many, many bands. So I thought the musicianship was fun and electric and catchy, and I think the lyricism, man, was a big part of why this song had the success that it had. And I like sometimes, man, simplicity is important when we're talking about making impact. Very easy to understand this, and I felt it. Because it made me reflect on my hometown and where I'm from, and seeing some of my friends and people that I've known growing up, seeing sort of the direction that their lives took, and just a lot of sort of unfortunate, cases I'm thinking of in life. And it brought me to that place. So I felt the lyricism, thought it was catchy, good musicianship. Shout out to Offspring for this one.
It is a success, man. I enjoyed the song too. I love it musically. I think they made punk work for me, which is saying a lot, because typically I'm just not in that sped up pace. I don't like a lot of songs. I mean, there are some, but I don't like a lot of songs that have that kind of punked out style. But I think they do it in a way that's alternative and a little bit more poppy that makes it work for me. So I do give them a lot of kudos for that. The chorus, to me, man, I've never been a fan of that shouting choruses. I really think it's just kind of it's comedic to me. It just comes off comedic to me. It always has, and but it's very rebellious, and I think that's kind of what this song represents. Like, we're just fed up with the bullshit of kids being taken too soon. In the second verse, I think they said specifically a girl had a chance. This girl really had a chance to do well, and instead she dropped out of school, had a couple kids. How many times have we heard that story? And kids,
and that's everywhere.
Kids are not always dream killers, but they're definitely dream delayers, though. You know what I'm saying? They definitely are. So
Preach on that.
So I feel like that can really, a lot of people can really relate to that. I know I can, because I have family that fall into that category, man, of having kids very, very young, and it just delays your dreams, man. So I love the lyricism, man. I love the lyricism and what they're saying. So give us some other options for, or suggestions actually, for Offspring, man. Because maybe they have something else that I like, because I think in the musicianship, because I did like the musicianship, there's enough there that I'm sure that I would find something that I think I would like a lot from them.
Shout out to the Offspring. Shout out to everybody that's been requesting for us to get to the Offspring. Give us some other suggestions outside of Pretty Fly for a White Guy, unless you want like a half reaction, because I've heard Pretty Fly for a White Guy. I don't know if Ryan has.
I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, so give us some more from them. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And also, guys, make sure y'all check out our site, Def the Radio. Join that, become a member, and of course our Patreon. The information for all of that will be in the description. I'm George. That's Ryan. Laws of Vegas.
We out.